Hello and welcome to Elektor Lab Talk Live. I'm Brian Tristam Williams, joined today by Jens Nickel, our editor-in-chief.
Hello, Brian.
In Aachen
How are
again,
you?
I see. I'm
Yes,
great,
I'm in
thanks.
Aachen. It's heavily
And-
raining. It's heavily raining, but
My weather
after
forecasts.
after the stream, I will go to a very famous chocolate manufacturer and buy a lot of chocolate for Christmas.
That you have to do in Aachen. It's freezing cold and it's raining. I don't envy you. And I'd also like to welcome engineer Jean-François Simon.
Hello,
And how are things on the west of France?
I'm good, thank you. It's mostly sunny here. No rain.
Awesome.
It's okay.
It's so hot here that my air conditioner is sucking so much liquid out of the air that it keeps overfilling and I get water on the carpet and stuff. So I've got to sort that out. But on to today's special guest, Dr. Thomas Scherer. He is a valued electoral contributor and an expert in LED innovation. So he'll tell us about advancements in LED tech, practical applications in electronics and design, and he will shed some light on the bright future of this essential technology. How are you, Thomas?
Fine, and it's raining here too, so you can see some LEDs here.
Ah, nice.
And in the back, there are the French mountains over the border.
Very nice. I love a good show and tell.
Yeah.
So we've been taking your questions throughout the show today in our chat room, so please keep them coming. I see Bruno Peters is here from Belgium. And yeah, ask away because Thomas loves to answer interesting questions. Plus, we've got an exciting giveaway. We have an Elektor circular Christmas tree, which I'll show you now. There we go. That's our giveaway for today. And as always, it works like this. Go to the giveaway page. There it is there. I can put the link on screen so you can see it properly. And later in the show, I'll give you a code word to type in here under code word, and you can stand a chance to win this 3D Christmas tree, which is perfect for this time of year. That's the giveaway taken care of, so stay tuned and get comfortable, and let's light things up with the Elektor Lab Talk. Thomas, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what excites you most about LED technology?
Best of it, in my opinion, is that you have high efficiency, much more than incandescent lights. So about 12 to 13 years ago, I replaced every single light bulb with a LED one in my house, and I got a good spare then about $500 a year only from that, which
Wow.
is enough. No? Yeah. And so I used LEDs in every time and in every matter. I can show you here some of all these LEDs I have it prepared. And if somebody wants to know what this is, does anybody have an idea what this is?
No.
From this distance, looks like an LED strip, unless we could showcase you.
But what kind of?
No idea. Red, green, and blue?
This is a backlight of a LED television.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you have to
Interesting.
put two together. Then you have a complete, take it down. No? From one, it's a 50-inch LED television, which got defective after 10 years of use. And then I opened it and found two dead LEDs inside.
Ah, yeah, that's a common problem that I see a lot of people advertising for, a backlight.
Exactly, you can even repair that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because it looks like the TV is dead. It looks black, but if you shine a torch through it or something, you can see there's a picture going on. You just need to fix the LEDs.
Exactly. So it's typical that they die because they are not very good cooled. So about of 50 or 30,000 hours living time, absolutely not. Maybe 5,000.
Yeah.
Is reality. And even if you have 100 LEDs on back, no, you have to multiply that with a probability of going defective. No? So it goes earlier one down than if you had only one LED, if you have 100.
And I don't suppose you would replace them with higher wattage LEDs.
Yeah, and that's the same as a problem, typical problem from LED chains, what every electronician has. This is a very good one with RGB LEDs, which are a little bit more expensive. So I have never seen a dead one of that. But I have here a very cheap one from AliExpress about 10 years ago. Bought them and put them on here, the roof. You see that? Yeah, I think so. No? The light here, you can. Okay, this is a LED strip too, and so over time, over several months, I had about 20 defective LEDs chips on that. So I think I got second source or B class LEDs. Get it cheap, and the result is you buy double.
Yeah, they never used to be cheap. I remember they used them for steps, for the lighting of the steps in movie theaters. And when they were finished building, they tossed some strips aside. That was more than 10, 15 years ago. And that day, that was a big score for me because those things were expensive. But now they're a lot more affordable.
Yeah, they're absolutely cheap. Even in the last 10 years, the prices per watt or per lumen a third about that in 10 years.
Thomas, I have a question about these LEDs for lighting purpose.
Yeah.
Because I took the same decision. First, I stored a lot of conventional light bulbs, I can grab, and now you can no longer get them. So I also switched to LED lighting. And the promise was, forget about any replacement, just put these new LEDs everywhere, and then you have 20 years of silence. But that is obviously not true, because now maybe 3 or 4 years later, the first ones are broken. What is the reason for that?
There are two reasons. I have here a typical inside of this one of these E27 LED bulbs. You see the chips on one side, the electronics, called in parentheses, you see it in the back side. First, you see that this power supply is a very extreme simple one, which you get in cheap bulbs and looks like that. That's all.
Okay.
Wow.
And you can think about that. They are mounted on the backside of this aluminium plate, and it got really hot. And the higher the temperature, the earlier they die. I think I measured one of them, and it had about 95 degrees during using after 10 minutes or so. So you can think there's no chance to reach 10,000 hours time lighting. Absolutely not. And even then, sometimes some LED chips are dying, and because they are connected in series, complete thing is falling out. Sometimes, if it's broken or you have only dead LED spots on it, and sometimes a power supply is dead. Even the cheap ones, and even with the longer replacements for fluorescent lights, the long ones, the power supply is so small. They do it. They have not much room for taking all the power, the waste power away.
I see.
Or the temperature, and it gets very hot, and they die really early. So usually you have to give out a little bit more money, and then you get better chips. This is another one which died. This is 3 watt type. This was a 10 watt up this time. So died. Even this one has a little bit more electronics. I had a real switching power supply at the back. So this is the main reason: power supply and dying from temperature.
What actually is now better is the color of the light.
Absolutely.
And the 10 years ago, the light was awful.
So, you can get better light quality, higher RA also, and you can have much more efficiency. 10 years ago, And even today, if you buy a usual ordinary bulb for about €2 piece, you get an efficiency of 70 to 120 lumen per watt. And if you buy better ones, you can have about 200 lumen per watt, which is much better. And they even they get a little bit more cool if they put more light out. A little bit, not much.
They get a little cooler if they put more light up.
The best we can get is today 200 to 230 lumen per watts, which is about 66% physical efficiency. 66% of that what is theoretical possible. And in the labs, they have even LEDs which reach about 85% efficiency.
I see.
So we are now declining. Maybe in the next 10 years, the progress is slower. But at least you can, if you buy now new LED bulbs, you get nearly double the efficiency than 10 years ago. So
it's insane.
It even would make sense that I replace in my complete house all the bulbs, the complete light.
Again.
Yeah, again, after 10 years.
Well, did you find that some brands are better than others?
I would not speculate some brands up. I have the experience that in the first LED bulbs, which are very expensive, I bought one from Philips for about €40, 4-watt dimmable, which died after half a year. So, but it is long ago, about 16 years ago, and meanwhile they are much better. So, if you buy the very cheap ones, even I have one of my oldest LED lamps, which consists of 200 small LEDs inside, and is working at the entrance of the house, which are switched very often on and off. So still okay, no LED effect.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there are some real hard and fast rules about brands.
Don't know. Maybe some brands are better. Even you don't know what the chips are, which the manufacturers of the light bulbs are buying. If they are first quality from Cree or so, or from Philips, you can expect they will last longer. Yeah. And if you get cheap ones, like I got in this strip here, which are now meanwhile every fifth LED is defective. In this, I don't know where the source is for that crap. Don't know. And even other thing is, if you ever buy LED strips, you have to glue them really carefully to some metal back to put all the temperature away.
Yeah. And what do you use the high power LEDs for?
Yeah, these are high power 3 and 5 watt. One is multi-chip and one is single chip. You can see it here. Yeah.
Do they get very hot?
From Cree and Lumileds. And they are good. They are old and still working perfectly. So at least I can try to have a little switching power supply on it. Should work. Oh. If I have the right polarity, yeah, I have it. Doesn't want. Yeah, no, doesn't want. Doesn't matter.
So when you're using them, do they need a lot of heat dissipation?
Yeah, exactly. You see, they are glued on one LED are glued on an aluminium plate, and this you have to put on a heat sink, otherwise they go dead.
Yeah.
You see, backside aluminium.
I bought one for a project once, and I haven't used it yet. I've got my box of Opta here, just in case anything comes up that could be of interest in here.
And okay, I have my most powerful LED I have is a 50 watt LED.
Wow.
Like this, And you see, you have to put it on a very big heat sink on the back, and even have to have thermal paste on the backside.
That's some serious firepower. What would the application for that be?
I want to replace the usually lamp in a beamer with a LED.
Okay.
Just an experiment.
Yeah, let us know how that turns out.
All the optoelectronics of that, big lens inside, and big one.
What's the forward voltage of this module you get?
Please?
The 50 watt one. What's the forward voltage you need to power these on?
I think about 30 volts, about that.
I see. So not that much.
Several strips connected in series and then parallel.
Yeah,
inside, you see many single chips inside, no? Several rows. Yeah, about 30 volt, 28.7 or so. I just use it with not enough, tested it with low current, because otherwise you would burn your fingers immediately. And it's so extremely bright, no? You will burn your retina.
Can you damage your eyes with LEDs, or is it only with lasers that you can? Yeah, are there some powerful enough LEDs that you can burn your eyes?
Yeah, every one of that. Huh? If you look at that, you can burn your eyes, sure. You can do it with 150 milliwatts with this one. This is a red laser with 150 milliwatts. No? You have burned retina. If you look in that, so like that. Even you can kill some chips from your camera with that.
I see.
CCD.
Yeah, usually should not play with that.
No, for sure. Don't give it to the kids as a toy thing.
Yeah.
I want to have a look at the chat shortly, but before we move on, I'd like to take this moment to tell you about EE News Europe. So if you're looking for the latest electronics and engineering, check out eenewseurope.com, which is an Elektor international media publication. It's a fully digital publication covering the global electronics market with specializations in analog, automotive, embedded, power, smart 2.0, and wireless technologies. I just happen to have it open to an LED-related article, 65 volt 2 amp buck LED driver. Interesting there. And so read eenewseurope.com and subscribe to its newsletters to stay informed about essential industry news and key events and technological innovations. That's eenewseurope.com. Now, we have some commenters. I want to say hi to Frank again. Haven't seen you in a while. And Nikki says hello from Finland. And of course, we've got Bruno, which I mentioned, from Belgium. Now for some questions and comments. Frank says the first batch of LED lights he bought were manufactured by Cree. I've also bought from Cree around 2008, he said. And he has a question. Do you know anything, does anyone here know anything about using UV LEDs for water disinfection?
Yeah. They are perfect for that, I think, if you have enough power.
So you need a lot of UV.
Yeah, you need a lot of them, or high power versions of that. It works perfectly.
Interesting.
Can use it like other ultraviolet sources.
Yeah. I wonder how much power you would need. Could you perhaps put UV LED in the top of a water
Depends on what
bottle?
throughput you have. Typically, normally you have a valve, no? Out of some glass or so, no? And there you put the light in, and the water is going through. Depends on the throughput. If you use it for an aquarium, for example, maybe 500 milliwatts would be much too much, or way enough. But if you have a big water tank, no, from 3 cubic meters staying in the sun, no, you should have several watts of that. Or if you use it for bath tubes outside or something like that, or a swimming pool, you need real power. Like typically it's a little bit more efficient than the fluorescent lights, no? The fluorescent lamps, but you need an equal amount of light energy.
How much power would you choose? For example, let's say you're going camping and you're going to drink water from the river. If you had a water bottle, would you have enough power to put it in the water bottle?
I would not do that. No, because you can't kill anything which is in the water with ultraviolet light. This is the problem of that. Maybe algae and so on, and some bacteria, no? But there are several other things which you can't kill. So you would need a filter too, an ordinary physical filter. Maybe with charcoal or so.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to take you on the next camping trip, Thomas, because I want to stay alive. I won't drink the river water.
At least have no problems in the stomach.
Yeah. So have there been, you say it's a diminishing returns as we get closer and to, the maximum efficiency we can get. Has there been much development in LEDs lately in the last few years?
Better light quality and more efficiency were the two things, no? Better light quality, but you pay much money. If you really want high quality light, you have to give out much more money than usual light that you have at home. If you, especially if you're working for print and need color correct colors, so you need the room being in your room. There must be light sources which are very good, because otherwise you have some errors if you see it on the screen. Because the background light will change your eye reception, and then if you have some higher blue parts or some higher red parts, which are not in the original light, then your eyesight is a little bit erroneous. So for normal use, there's no need for that.
And you are lighting up your home. Obviously, you don't need individually addressable LEDs for that, but maybe for Christmas light shows.
Yeah, but some people do, but maybe more for effects. No, even a specialty is this RGB LEDs, which have a microcontroller inside, which are serial controllable, and you can daisy chain them for long chains and make some effects of that.
Yeah, basically like the WS2812.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah.
Obviously for effects.
For effects, making clocks or something like that.
Yeah, I drive past bedrooms sometimes, and I see probably teenagers. They've got LED strings and they're changing red, green.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like it. Even the you can buy from Philips and other brands, or all this addressable or through Alexa or something, home automation controllable LEDs. I wouldn't like that, because I need red light or green light at home. I need my typical white light. That's all for me.
Well, I don't want it flickering and changing all the time, but I am using, as you see, blue lights for effect behind me. But it is addressable using Google. I can say, "Hey Google, office lights red," and hopefully it works. There we go.
Yeah,
some red behind me.
Yeah,
but it is for effect.
I have one of these laptops behind my television set.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't have this high contrast. It's not like Philips Ambilight, but it's backlight.
Yeah,
which
stay one color
shining on the wall, and so you don't have a high contrast. That's all.
Yeah. Does it stay one color, or does it change with your picture?
I could, but I don't want that. It's not good for me. So I put one color which is a little bit yellowish than usual. That's all.
Okay.
And interesting to think about this, but LED backlights. Any chance that manufacturers would put RGB LED backlights so that if that part of the picture is red, then the backlight can also sort of go red?
You can even buy a complete panel in this size from Samsung for $100,000. Micro LED. They have it, And
LED.
LED micro LEDs.
No backlight required there.
No backlight,
obviously.
This is the best one. Yeah.
Well,
and the mini LED backlights, they are used already. I have a laptop from Apple, the PowerBook something, which has mini LEDs in the backlight. They use it for get much higher contrast than usually. So if you watch movies, you get this highlights about 1,600 lumens or something like that. Extremely high peaks.
Yeah. I remember there was a time.
But for using it as a laptop, it makes no difference for me.
Not too much difference for you.
Yeah.
There was a time when LED backlights came out and they started selling TVs as LED TVs. And
exactly.
I thought, what? They have little LEDs? But no, it was just backlighting. Now we're getting into actual LED panels.
Yeah.
Not cheap though.
Panels, yeah. Exactly. The first one First one with LED backlight, there are no, but about, not exactly, not 18 years ago. 18
Yeah.
years, first ones, and before that there were fluorescent lamps in the back.
Yeah. 18 years ago, some people still had plasma screens.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of those. I found the picture to be very noisy, but some people love plasma.
Yeah. Yeah, this is other developments. Maybe you see in 5 years you have even smartphones with micro LEDs, no?
Yeah.
Because they have a higher efficiency than the OLED displays we have today. And even here you get for small screens, no, for many bucks, they have the capacity to use that higher efficiency in the television set. It doesn't make so much necessity to have, if you spare 5 watts from a television set, so what?
Yeah.
And apart from
paying much more money for that. But the other thing is, if you want a long life, micro LED would be the best, because they are, they are not organic LEDs, so they last about, really, they will last 30,000 hours or more.
Yeah. We met with DIY guy Chris in Munich last month, and he has been on our shows before, and he likes to do things just because he can. Crazy things, like he hand soldered 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter LEDs onto a circuit, and now he's going to go for the smallest ones that exist, 0.6 millimeters. He's going to try and work on that. So.
Yeah, exactly, for that. No? You can't see that. Yeah, you have to take some class.
It's crazy. We're nearly at the bottom of the hour now, so I'll go back to the giveaway, as I'm sure everyone is wondering. We normally get people asking, what is the code word? Well, I'm about to give it to you. That's the Christmas tree kit. It looks pretty cool. That's the above you. It arrives flat. You break it out, put on the LEDs. And optionally, you can add a microcontroller in the top corner there.
What kind of?
There we go.
Do you know what kind of microcontroller? What is it?
Yeah.
It's the ESP board.
It looks like it has an Arduino logo. It is it's down here, optional Arduino Nano ESP32.
Exactly. So you can control it maybe over Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Let me just mute that. It's quite pretty. So yeah, I think we will have quite a few giveaway entries. There's your addressable LEDs all changing colors and for effect. So there's the giveaway page. I'll put the URL on the screen again, only this time I'll give you the code word. It is LIGHTUP, LIGHTUP. So go ahead and enter there on the giveaway page. And good luck, as always. Now, yes, some of your hobby time is spent with music. Do you do much with lighting when you are playing music?
Yeah, we are using visuals, but on TV screens. So,
okay, so not like DMX or anything like that.
No, we have Resolume as a VJ program. So we are playing actually videos from video artists. You can also integrate live pictures. You can integrate still pictures. You can integrate small videos of your own. So, and then you can mix it. And we have spots. So 2 spots. What I recently thought on is maybe synchronize the color of these spots, because they are controlled via DMX, to synchronize this a little bit with the main color of the video screen. So that should give a good fitting picture. I'm on that, but I have so many things I want to realize. So it's still an idea, but yeah, of course you can have color sensors, cheap color sensors, and yet just put a color sensor somewhere in front of the screen, and then you just have to transform that in a DMX control message, and you can, that will do the trick. So yeah, there are so many options and possibilities and so on.
You never get too old to experiment with new things in electronics. Always fun.
Yeah, I think you're right to use the color sensor for that, because if you decide to decode the HDMI picture, it will be harder, I think.
That is also a possibility, but I once talked with Imtiaz, who was the former senior engineer at Elektor, and yeah, he did a lot with HDMI output. For that, a smaller microcontroller is enough, but he said if you want to analyze an HDMI input, then you have to have at least an FPGA. Yeah, I'm always dreaming from a small device which can enhance, for example, one color, green over red or something like that, to correct live an HDMI stream qua color. But okay, he said you need an FPGA. So at the moment, I'm not in that FPGA thing, but okay, it's all doable. It's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be quite hard to start from scratch with FPGAs, especially if you're not into FPGAs at the beginning. But maybe one other option could be to use a cheap single board computer like a Raspberry Pi Zero or something like that, and a cheap capture card from.
Yes.
You can find some HDMI capture cards for $10 or €10. They've gotten really cheap now, so maybe doing it in software on a Linux computer would be easier.
Yes.
Yeah, there's actually, I forget how much LED technology is going on around me. I did mention the lights above me, but even these studio lights, which generally stay the same color, but I've got the RGB controls right there on my phone. So if I wanted, say, all green from that side, then I can do that. And this app even has a source match. So you can take a photo pointed at something like my cup of coffee here. And I don't know, that's not going to be a great color. Let's say flesh tone. And I say match that. And then it changes the LED to match that color. So it is an array of LEDs, and I guess they're all, I don't know if they're individually addressable because they all change at the same time. But yeah, the technology is all around us. Thomas, what other interesting LED applications have you done?
Thomas, you are on mute. You muted your microphone.
So now, sorry.
There we go.
Yeah, I nearly showed it. So the giveaway inspired me. The 8mm LEDs. You have seen the biggest LEDs, which are usually with two threads on it. Biggest one. Do you have the same as I have? No, 10mm.
I think they could be
10
10 or 8,
millimeters.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
20.
Wow. So 2 of these.
This is a board which I made. It was to measure response times. No, in the psychological lab I was working years ago. We measured the response times from different stimuli, and I put these big LEDs, so it can make green, yellow, red, and then pass also.
Well, those are pretty large. I mean, if these are 10.
Yeah, these are 10.
Your
biggest one I could get was exactly. I have 10 too. Yeah. And here you see the difference between the 5mm LEDs back, the one, and the 10, 20mm ones. They have the same size as the 90mm buttons here.
Are those easily available off the shelf, those big ones?
I got it. Yeah, you can buy it still today. Yeah, easily. Maybe at Farnell you can get that.
Wow.
So if you want to have big spots, they are not so really bright, not really efficient. And other things I have is the typical LED power supply for LED chains. And you can see the high tech inside. This is the output transformer.
Yeah.
You see, it's directly connected to the output without any filtering. So you get a square wave from about 30 volts and with 36 kilohertz. so funny for all radio amateurs. You have here EMV in high amounts. No? And even on the top side, there was a label from the German TÜV, which is a shame.
Yeah.
You should not buy these cheap power supplies if you don't want to have problems with your neighbors when they like a shortwave radio or something like that.
Cheap power
I missed
supplies
the
are
part where you said where this PSU is coming from. What power supply is this? This noisy one?
It's about 50 watts. Very simple one. To put a LED chain typical on it, you can somewhere adjust the current, and that's all what you can.
Did you find this one on AliExpress or something like that?
Oh, it's from a Elektor reader. He sent me this years ago, and that he had real problems with it. It has interference at dimmers and all these things in his house, and he couldn't believe that. And he asked me if I could check that, and I opened it, and it's not true. An output transformer without filter on the outside. You can't do that. Absolutely not. And then there's an article some years ago I wrote about that. It's even published in Elektor. Don't know the year exactly. So
is it just a matter of putting
I can keep the power supply. I doesn't want it anymore.
Is it possible to add a filter at the output? Or
you can do.
Yeah,
I did it, and it was very effective. If you do that, that's
so it
not
can be an exercise in filter design then, just for fun.
Please.
It can be an exercise in filter design then, just
yeah, exactly. And even it's the core. We have a little bit interference from the core to magnetical one, but not much. If you filter that, it's okay. But they did not filter it. And you find this very often, this kind of electronics.
Yeah, you can find these kind of...
If the connections to a LED would be so short, maybe 3 centimeters or so, no problem, no real problem. But you have several meters of that, It's an antenna.
That's a nice antenna.
For every frequency in the range to about 1 megahertz or so.
Thomas, how can you see what would be a good power supply for LED chains? If you say, okay, there's some stamp on it, and you expect
stamp on it, maybe not TÜV, but this cheap plastic housings, I would not buy that. Yeah, this was plastic on the top side too. And I would look at the data. What they say, the efficiency should be high. This is not even high efficiency, about 80%. And a good power supply for LEDs should be above 90-95% efficient. And the higher the efficiency, the better the power supply, I think. This is a rule of thumb.
Maybe if you stick to known names, which has been Well or Delta or Osram, or you can maybe get a chance to...
Inside there's not a single IC.
Yes, it's self-oscillating.
Yes, self-oscillating circuit. Yeah.
What does self-oscillating mean?
The transfer is a feedback from the transformator back to the electronics, which controls the power feds here. There's two.
Oh, okay.
So it's oscillating with a resonance frequency out of the core and some capacitors.
Yeah, but then it's not controlled. It's just oscillating at the frequency it wants.
Yeah, so it's not really controlled, yes. So this is the worst thing you can buy, I think. And if you have a good chip inside, microcontroller, then you should have not the same problems. Even this little this aluminium housings, the little power supplies you can get for cheap from Asia, from Meanwell or so, they are good. I tested them several times. You know, the small ones, bigger ones? you get it for every voltage and every current you can have from 5 watt to 1 kilowatt. They typically are good for you, usually.
I had some problems in the past with some switching power supplies that were working okay and that were silent under load. But at low loads, they were buzzing because the IC in it was skipping pulses to maintain the output voltage. And then this was not the usual. At full load, they were okay, but yeah. And that can be a problem if you're in a quiet room or for some projects, it can be annoying.
They can make noise, no?
Yes.
True. Yeah. Yeah, can't say it. And it's a pity if you buy that.
Yeah. There is nothing you can do about this because it's about the control algorithm of the IC. So you, in the end, I just change it to another PSU.
Even the power supplies in modern computers from Apple, the first range of the Mac Studio. Show it here. This one. This guy had a power supply which was making noise. You buy a computer for $3,000 and you have noise.
Yeah, I walked past an electricity transformer yesterday with the kids and it was buzzing, and I said to them, "That's 50 hertz." They said, "How do you know exactly what frequency it is?" I said, "The power works on 50 hertz," but it was making
50.
a huge noise.
50 is good. Here you have some kilohertz typically.
Yeah. Not
you could have pretended that you count in your head.
What about counting in your head?
Yeah, you can count 50 hertz in your head, maybe, if you have a built-in frequency counter.
I don't know about 50, yeah. Maybe 1 hertz I could manage.
Yeah. 2. Yeah.
Did you, about LED light bulbs, I've seen on YouTube, there are some quite a few videos about modifying LED light bulbs from China, the very cheap ones, the cheapest ones. And usually on these very cheap ones, they are trying to save a few cents by using the fewer LEDs possible. And so they are really overdriving those LEDs and to get a decent light out of them. And so one modification that you can do is open them. Sometimes they are not even glued. You can just pop them open. And you can add a capacitor in series to reduce the current, and then you can make them last longer. Have you ever tried those kind of modifications?
No, but it's very simple. If you have a light like that, you have to change this series capacitor.
Yeah.
That's all. Then you get less current. And so it's the correlation between life expectancy and temperature is nonlinear. If you get maybe 10 degrees higher temperature, you have half a lifetime.
Yeah, so you can really save on the lifetime like this.
Yeah, you can. If you go 20% down with the current, you have at least 3 times light.
Yeah, in the end, I didn't do this in my house because I just use, as I was disappointed by Philips back then, but maybe this has changed and maybe there are different series even within a single brand. In the end, I just bought some cheap light bulbs from the hardware store. It's the brand from the hardware store, so no name, and they are working okay. So in the end, I didn't modify the bulbs themselves.
Here's a question from Klaus Schönhoff, no?
More of a comment. She's saying maybe you've got a 12-volt halogen incandescent bulb power supply, just rebranded as LED.
Good suggestion. Maybe, yeah. So
printing,
they can print everything on it.
Yeah.
Like the CE sign of the CE label.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just marking on a box. How would you advise someone to start LED driver study? They're saying that the Horowitz books and so on are failing to illuminate, if you'll excuse the pun, the study of LED driver. Where would you begin? Thomas?
Difficult question.
You began so long ago that you can't advise.
I just bought some and tested and then experimented with that. Then looking at the data sheets and so looking what I make wrong, and so several of my first lets died.
Yeah, you've forgotten things that other people haven't learned yet. You've been doing it for so long.
I think there are some good books about LED driver design, but I don't remember them off the top of my head. But there are some really complex books about switching power supply design, and some of them are dedicated to LED. But
and one thing is that if you want to make your own power supply for a LED driver, then you have to trust the manufacturer of the chips, no? And they have all the design guidelines in the data sheet, which you have to orient on it. So you can't make some big errors there if you follow the rules there.
I'm just checking if I still have the Horowitz book here. I don't know if they touched on LEDs. It was a long time since I last looked at that. Speaking of wealth of knowledge, something that Jens and I wanted to show was Elektor version of ChatGPT, or it's Elektor's GPT based on ChatGPT. Shall we show that, Jens?
Yes, of course.
Cool. So what the team has done is they've taken all of the Elektors in the entire history, at least of the English language version, which I've got on a stick here, but they've put it into GPT so that we can get Elektor GPT, as you see there. So you can ask it anything about the magazines. For example, I would say, when was the first LED project? And ask away. It is a beta version. Searching my knowledge. As it says at the top, please note this is a beta version of GPT-based AI fueled by Elektor magazine content. And here we have a whole list of first infrared LED. Okay, according to our magazine, was produced in 1955, commercialized in 1962. Any articles on using LEDs for disinfection? Mouse.
This is an interesting question, yeah.
Don't know how much compute we are using.
Yeah,
searching
it's running on a Raspberry Pi.
Raspberry Pi 2.
Yeah.
There we go. And there we go. There's some articles, and they've got links below. Effective disinfection using light on UVC LEDs. And that was published in 2020. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. So if you're interested in this type of thing, visit the link. Let me put that on screen. elektormagazine.com/GPT, and you can query 50 years of English content from our magazine from the 70s until now.
Very interesting. I will use it.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get that off the screen. AI, it's everywhere nowadays. Thomas, are you using it much in your
I didn't know that it exists. I heard about talking 2 years ago, no, but I did not know that it exists. Now I know.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will use it in future. Absolutely.
Saves a lot of time, but sometimes it can be really.
It's faster search because my searching strategies, especially for Elektor, take time.
Yeah.
That's right.
I use it. Yeah.
And I have every digitalized Elektor magazine here on my computer. No? So, but it takes time to find that.
Exactly. Whereas, yeah, you just type in what you want to know, and you can even have a conversation with it. I do use AI all the time. For example, today I wanted to install PHP and Composer on a Raspberry Pi, and yes, there were tutorials all over the web, but they were long and complicated. I just went to ChatGPT and I said how to install PHP and Apache, and I just followed the instructions, copy, paste, and now I've got the web server running on the Raspberry Pi. Not the one for Elektor GPT, don't worry. Something else I'm experimenting with.
Yeah, for searching in your personal files or your personal Elektor collection. In the past, there used to be Google desktop search. I'm not sure if this is still around.
Oh, yes, I remember that. I forgot about it. You
Yeah, I
reminded
don't
me.
think it's still active, but
Yeah, I didn't like the same with Windows indexing. It's using computing power all the time to index your drive, and I wasn't a fan, especially on a slower computer.
yeah, me too. Then your computer
look
gets
at-
slow and you don't know why.
Yeah. Look at Gmail, for example. I've been on there since I think 2006, maybe earlier, and it's so quick to search anything. Somebody mentioned white rhinoceros back in 2011. Just type in white rhinoceros. It was George from the zoo. So those kind of searches are very helpful. So hopefully this, Thomas, you will explode in productivity by searching using Elektor GPT.
At least it makes things easier. Huh? And
yeah,
but it's recommended to whatever the AI tool you use. It's still recommended to check facts afterwards because it's always using probability. So it's
you can trust that. Sure.
It can be a high probability, but still wrong. So you have to check.
So
yeah,
maybe the AI is a little bit fantasizing about the facts.
Yeah, they call it hallucinating. When it
exactly.
just makes up stuff. So you do have to check it, but
so
it's certainly
first that article in Elektor about LEDs is published in 1876 and so on.
Well, it wasn't published. It's still in the CMS. We haven't gotten around to editing it yet. Or as today I was checking for the earliest files. I don't know how long ago I installed this Raspberry Pi operating system, so I wanted to find out. So I asked ChatGPT to give me something I could type in at the command prompt to find the oldest files. It gave me the correct script, but unfortunately the oldest files on the system were all listed as 1970-0101, the start of the Unix date system. So that's not very helpful. That was before Elektor was in English. It wasn't quite 1896, but yeah, the oldest files on my Raspberry Pi date from January 1st, 1970, according to it.
Yeah.
We got about 7 minutes to go, and this is our last show for the year, so maybe we should just reminisce and think about where we've been this year. I particularly enjoyed the travels where I got to meet with you guys, your colleagues, and like at Electronica 2024, and I also enjoyed going to the Raspberry Pi event in England, where I got to see the factory where they actually make Raspberry Pis. And the tragedy was it wasn't a media event, it was a partner event, so I wasn't allowed to take pictures or videos, but it was amazing to see the robots building them. I mean, 2 arms, they would take out a USB connector and then wiggle it to get into the hole, and it's just robot arms, not even a head. It would take something from behind it, and it would all the components come out. It would look at it, and if it didn't like it, in the reject bin, get the next one, and then the reject bin that was quite amazing. So yeah, those were a couple of highlights of my year. Anybody else have anything that jumps to mind that 2024 brought to the table?
Yeah, of course, we should mention all our editions, Brian. With the latest edition, you can buy it at the newsstand sales. That's the AI edition. And yeah, I think it's the first AI edition we have in history. And yeah, when the idea came up, I first said, what I thought, yeah, that could be maybe a very tough job to fill a whole edition with AI projects and AI background stories, because I knew it some years ago. It was a very new topic, and our readers or authors, our regular authors, they were not so familiar with all these AI applications. But that changed rapidly. That changed really heavily. It was we produced so much material that we hardly could put everything in one edition. So we also made a bonus edition. And in the next March-April edition, we will have also some articles about AI application, object recognition, speech recognition, gesture recognition and all that stuff, coding with AI, developing
Yeah.
with AI, and so on. So that I think that's definitely one of the highlights.
as you can
Another
see-
one was, I think, the circuit special in summer, and yeah, I also enjoyed all the shows. As you, Brian, Embedded World, and I'm already looking forward to the next Embedded World in 2025. I think it's mid of March.
Yeah.
I hope we
And
will.
yes, the circuit special was interesting. Although I have spoken about some of these circuits on the show before, like the vocal remover. I like that. So yes, it was a lot of work this year, and thanks to you, Jens, running the show, editor-in-chief. It was not easy, but look at the volume of high-quality editions that came out of it, including bonus, because sometimes you just have too much content to put on paper. The magazines are heavy and they have to be shipped around the world. So yes, bonus editions in the can as well. And you, Jean-François, any particular highlights?
Tough question, Brian. There are so many interesting articles this year. I think I didn't read them all. Still have my the whole pile over there, but there are still some that I need to read.
Well, they are great to read. I don't get all of the magazines because my postal system is defective in print, but you know, they're always available digital on the tablet. So that's also cool. Thomas, highlights of your year. What did you get up to? Did you terrorize neighbors with bright LEDs when they were making too much noise? Anything like that?
I don't know. So maybe I have to renovate my house. So what I said about replacing all the LEDs in the house will be a true option.
Cool. Yeah, I've replaced most of the lights in my house with RGB, like the one above me that I could talk to Google. Not because I need RGB, but just because I like to say kitchen lights off, you know, without having to get up. And
there's a very important factor too. This is a women's acceptance factor. I can't do what I want.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, guys, thanks for the illuminating chat. I used a pun again. I'm getting too bad at dad jokes, or I'm dad at bad jokes, either way. Thank you all for joining us, especially Tom Scherer, our special guest. Besides power and energy, he loves LEDs, so that's why we had him on to talk about his stash of LEDs. So I've taken my stash up. Now I'm keen to play with them. Like this, for example, it's a Pimeroni 8 LED strip, and it just plugs straight onto a Raspberry Pi header, and ChatGPT was there for me when I said, write me a script to make a running red LED like Knight Rider, and it did it, and it worked. So that was pretty cool. So I want to play now. But until then, thank you as well, Jens Nickel, Editor-in-Chief of Elektor, and Jean-François Sigmund, Engineer at Elektor. And thanks to Alina in the background, pressing the buttons and making sure that it's a big picture when Thomas shows a small component. And thanks to everyone in the chat room for joining us from around the world. Once again, if you are entering the competition, good luck with that. Remember, the code word is, wait, what was it? Was it light up or was it light me up? Light up, just light up. LIGHTUP. Thanks for joining us, and have a good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are in the world.
Thank you, Brian. See you.